3 lifelong friends, 6 trusty balls, and endless NFL takes. Welcome to 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast.
Welcome to episode 54 of 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and I'm here with my co-host, Will.
Hey.
Avery is getting home late from work, so he'll be joining us shortly. So for now, it's just Will and I. But free agency has officially been open for 1 week. And so today we're going to talk about who we think were the winners and losers of free agency. And then after that, we'll be doing some more scouting reports for you guys and adding more players to our top 50 big board. Before we get started, Will, is there anything that you want to talk about before we get going here?
Was there something I was supposed to?
No, I just wanted to see if you had anything to bring up before we just jump in. So,
I mean, I've got topic specific things, but nothing besides that.
okay. Well, then we'll just go ahead and just jump right into the winners and losers of free agency. So, Will, why don't you get us started? You can pick if you want to start with the winners or losers.
I'd like to start with a single loser here. This is a team loser, and this is a very, very opinionated thing. And I'm gonna make a lot of people mad right now because I think that a lot of people view this as good. I am not one of them. And my first loser is the Baltimore Ravens.
Absolutely.
It is purely for bad business. I don't even know what else to call it. And the Baltimore homers are going to be like, well, he didn't pass the physical. Sure. Your doctors said he didn't pass the physical after background deals were going on between you guys and Trey Hendrickson to have a different deal where you didn't give up 2 first-round picks. You didn't pay him more money. You got, and I won't say exactly equivalent. Trey Hendrickson is not as good anymore as Max Crosby is potential. So the potential for this upcoming season, I think, is lower a little bit. But what you're saving in value is worth that little bit of potential. And so I think it's incredibly bad business to do what they did. They traded for him. They brought him in pending physical. And I don't know if you've noticed, but all of these trades now since that time have all had that little pending physical tag on them. They probably did before, but it just stands out to me so much more now. They traded for him. The Raiders got this huge contract off the books, allegedly. They went and signed $280 million worth of people. And then all of a sudden, Baltimore went, actually, we're going to sign this other dude. Instead, you can have your guy back. He didn't pass our physical. And now the Raiders are just stuck with it. And the conspiracy theorist in me wants to say, well, yeah, it's because the Raiders stole Tyler Lindenbaum. Fine, take Max Crosby back then. We don't want him if you're going to steal our players. Look, they took our guy. We're not going to take your guy. I just did not like the move at all. I thought it was bad business. It's not that they didn't know he was recovering from a torn MCL. That wasn't private news. That clearly happened. He actually got mad at his own team for not letting him play the last 2 games of the season last year. And when they benched him, that day, I actually said on this show, that day he posted pictures or videos of him on his Instagram of him playing basketball and jumping on a trampoline and doing all sorts of things showing, hey guys, I'm not actually that injured. And unlike Gerard McCoy, he can come back from a knee surgery within 1 off season. I just think it's crazy. I know, I keep bringing it back. I can't let it die.
Did you see the press conference?
From which one? Max
For
Crosby or the Ravens?
No, the Ravens.
I read about it. I didn't see it.
It just looked like that they were just making stuff up.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they didn't actually know what to say. They were just making stuff up. Just making up reasons why that didn't happen. So it's just a bad look.
I would like to turn this into a positive, though, and say a winner of that move was the NFL fans, because there was an overwhelming negative spin on the Ravens specifically for doing this. Like people were up in arms about how bad of business this was by the Ravens. And I saw more negativity towards the Ravens for doing this than anything else on the move. And so I really appreciated that the whole of the NFL fandom kind of got together against the Ravens for doing this kind of bad. Like, it just set such a bad precedent.
Yeah.
I don't want to just keep repeating myself saying bad business over and over and over again, but that's just all I can chalk it up to is you made a deal. You agreed to that knowing the risk. You then had your own personal doctor say, oh, the risk is too high. Also, we can sign this other guy for cheaper. Let's do that instead. It's good in-house business, sure, but league-wide business, it just sets a really bad precedent.
Yeah, nobody's going to want to trade with the Ravens for a long time because of that. So I agree with you 100%. It's just a bad look.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay with the losers for free agency. And for me, one of the biggest losers of free agency is George Pickens. If I were George Pickens, I would not play until I received a long-term contract extension. If I were him, I'd be like, I'm on a 1-year, $27.3 million deal after I just balled out with 93 catches, over 1,400 yards, and 9 touchdowns, while this dude, Alec Pierce, is over here for the Colts, getting $29 million a year after he just barely scraped by 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. Pickens and Pierce were drafted in the same year with back-to-back picks, and Pickens has been way more productive in those 4 years than Pierce has. Pickens has 110 more catches, over 1,300 more yards, 4 more touchdowns over those 4 years, and he's getting paid less money. I'm sure George Pickens will eventually get paid more than Pierce, but for now, he's one of the biggest losers of free agency, in my opinion.
It's weird to say that a guy who didn't get a move done, like he didn't get traded, he didn't re-sign somewhere, like he's not even up for a contract right now, technically. So it's weird to say that he's a loser, but I fully agree with you. Like he needs to be seeking, hey, where it's my turn, guys. But we all knew that the 49ers were going to be here. With your time is kind of running out, you're going to have to start paying your really good guys.
Cowboys?
You said George Pickens. I was thinking George Kittle. That's on me. You're right. George Pickens. You're right, though. Same thing sticks, though. You're right. George Pickens, Cowboys, good golly. I was stuck on the white guys. This one's my bad. We talked about 3 white guys. I was just stuck on it. This one's on me. Anyway, George Pickens, you're right. He stepped up for the Cowboys this year with everything going on with CD and all the other team. That he was the guy when they need him to. And when CD came back, they still stuck with him. And you're right. He deserves more, and the problem is, and again, goes back to the same thing I was saying incorrectly, Dallas just isn't going to pay him. Dallas doesn't pay out their own free agents at all, and he didn't get the same treatment that Amari Cooper got, where Dallas traded a 1 for Amari Cooper, had him for half the season, and then Amari left. And it's like, okay, well, you're going to do the same thing just for what? I swear it's not an earthquake. I just going to... For those listening, I bumped my table. My whole screen just shook. Anyway, he's going to be here for another year. They're going to use him to his fullest potential, and then they won't sign him to a big enough deal, and he'll get a big deal somewhere else. That's just the way Dallas does business right now, and it's consistent. They just don't pay big money for big players, unless they're homegrown players. They will do that for their guys.
So what Jerry is trying to do is he's trying to get somebody to give him more draft picks so that he doesn't have to pay George Pickens.
Right.
That's what he's trying to do. Because if George Pickens plays on the franchise tag this year, he can actually get franchise tagged again next year.
Oh, really?
So Jerry Jones, I believe that's the rule. I believe you can do it more than once. So Jerry Jones can actually hold on to George Pickens. I don't know if George Pickens is going to play or not. If I were him, I wouldn't. But I don't know if he's going to play, but he can be franchise tagged more than once in a row. And so I need to look that up, actually. I believe you can, but let me look it up real quick.
I know in Madden you can't, but that's not the end-all, be-all of everything.
Okay, so it says, yes, an NFL player can be franchise tagged twice or even 3 times. A second consecutive tag requires the team to pay the player 120% raise over the previous year's salary, though. So, and then a third tag results in 144% increase. That is according to the AI overview, because I didn't want to dig into it too much.
It must be real.
So
then.
It could be, it must be 100% true.
It's our AI overlords. Yeah. It's for sure true.
Must be 100% true if that's what it's telling me. So,
or 144%.
But he can be, but he can be tagged more than one time. So Jerry could just tag him, and again, I don't know if he's going to play, but he could just tag him and then just hope that eventually somebody gives him a first-round pick or a second-round pick or whatever pick it is, because Jerry doesn't want to pay him long-term, so he's just hoping that somebody will give him draft picks. I think that's what Jerry is doing.
And the problem is that, again, thinking of Jerry, that benefits Jerry a lot. Well, I'm franchise tagging him, and now I'm paying him 125. You said 125%, so it's 25% more than you got this year, right? And then 44%.
120%.
So 20% extra over this year if he were to get franchise tagged. He did get franchise tagged this year, correct?
This year, yeah.
Yeah. So it would be 20% more next year. And then if they do it again, it's like, well, I'm paying him more money. It's just on 1 year short-term deals. But if he doesn't play, then that's going to be the narrative. It's like he got more money on the tag and he's choosing not to play. And so it'll just turn the entire fan base against him, unfortunately, because as much as Dallas likes to say, oh, well, Jerry's standing in the way, Jerry's the problem. When he makes moves by the end of the year, everyone's like, well, see, Micah Parsons got hurt. What are we going to do? Now we've got their pack. We got a pick 20. We got pick 12 and pick 20. 2 picks in the top 20. That's wonderful. Wow, what a mastermind. And so you just turn the whole fan base, maybe not the whole fan base, that's an absolute, but a majority of the fan base just turns opinion as the season goes on to be on his side. And that's all that matters to these owners is that, hey, as long as you're on my side, you're going to keep watching games, you're going to keep buying tickets, you're going to keep eating that popcorn. Money, money, money.
Exactly. Will, do you want to read that text that Avery just sent us?
Oh, I would love to.
It's,
I haven't actually, this is live reading. I have not seen it yet. He was texting while I was talking. It says, yeah. It says, yeah, I won't make it. So Avery's not here, obviously. It says, yeah, I won't make it. And Joe replies, at all. And Avery replies with preemptively apologizing to Dwayne. It says, and I quote, I'm a bitch. So there's that. Sorry, Dwayne, that your oldest son is saying that about himself. But if he does get here, we will reaffirm him in self-love and self-care because that's very important.
He said he might hop on in 20, 30 minutes or so. So we might get him for some of this episode, but we'll see. All right, well, we're back around to you. So
right,
give us another. Let's just stick with the losers. Let's just stick with the losers.
Man, I was ready with a winner. Sorry, give me 1 second.
All right, give us a winner then. Give us a winner.
Well, I either way. What do you want? Tell me what you want, Daddy.
All right, we'll stick with the losers.
I'm going to go with one loser, and it's very unfortunate, and this is the price you pay when you win big, is the Seattle Seahawks. I think they lost a lot of key players that got them where they needed to go, and some that you can fix it, right? Like living in the Northwest, there's a lot of Seahawks fans at my work. When Kenneth Walker signed with Kansas City, everyone said, yeah, he was good, but he only had 1,000 yards this season. He was only good at the end of the season. There was so much justification that went on for, yes, he was good, but he was okay, really. Super Bowl MVP, but really during the season, he was only okay. And overall, I agree with that. But it's the immediate, again, we're back on this immediate turning of opinion. Well, he's not my guy anymore. He can go kick rocks for all I care.
But they're also leaving out the part where he was sharing time for most of the season. So
right. And Seattle has had a continuous history of running back injury where they've had to have a stable of running backs. Ever since Marshawn left, it has just been injury after injury. I mean, you can just run through the players. I can't because I'm not a Seattle fan, but they could just run through the players that they've had just consistently and it has not been exclusive, or it has not been without Charbonnet and Walker having their own injury problems. So them re-signing, it was on the rocks there, but them re-signing Rashid Shaheed was their biggest outward move, at least that I saw. They lost a lot of people, and that's just the price you pay when you win the Super Bowl, is that you've got good guys on mediocre contracts that other people want to pay big money to. And so they lost a lot of pieces, and they lost their Super Bowl MVP. And so whether justified or not, we'll see. But yeah, unfortunately,
I will say this. Go ahead, finish.
I said, unfortunately, I think they did kind of lose out this free agency period.
I will say this about the Seahawks, though. Going into next season, I have more confidence that the Seahawks could repeat as Super Bowl champions than I did that the Eagles could repeat as Super Bowl champions. Because I think the Eagles lost way more pieces than the Seahawks did, and I still think the Seahawks have better, an overall structure than the Eagles had going into this next season. I could be wrong about that. It's probably just because I can't stand the Eagles. I don't like Seahawks either, but I can't stand the Eagles. But I think the Seahawks would have a better chance of repeating than the Eagles had of repeating.
My
So-
only issue with that statement is that the other two good teams in the NFC West got better this free agency period. Like I would
Yes.
say, I would say the Rams legitimately got significantly better. Now that is, yeah, I put my Rams hat on because I was going to make that take anyway. But the Rams got significantly better. They immediately addressed their needs and did it in full force. And then I think the Niners are addressing needs, and as they get healthy, they receiver was a problem. They didn't have Ayuk all year, and who knows what's going on with that guy right now. And so receiver has been a big need, and what they did was they went out and they got a big body, big play receiver. And so, sorry, but
Loser.
so I think the rest of the NFC West is getting better, while the Seahawks are at minimum staying stagnant. And if everyone else is moving forward while you're not moving, then you're moving backwards by default, or by default's not the right word. But whatever, we're moving on. Anyway, Joe, give us your next loser. See that transition there?
Well, actually, so I'm going to actually go to a winner because we were talking
Oh,
about the
sure,
Rams a
you
little
get
bit,
to.
So I want to stay on the topic of the Rams for a minute. So
Yeah, please.
I feel like the Rams are like Thanos right now, trying to collect all the Infinity Stones.
Absolutely.
And the 13th pick in the NFL draft is the last stone. They've got Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Trent McDuffie, and a stacked defensive line. And the moment that they make that pick at 13 is like the moment that Thanos rips that stone out of Vision's head and puts it in the Infinity Gauntlet. The Rams are absolutely loaded right now. And so I think they're one of the biggest winners of free agency, and they are probably the Super Bowl favorites right now. But just remember,
they
Will,
are.
did end up getting his head cut off by Thor. So I don't know what that means for the Rams.
But you know what?
That really like so
that was after the snap. Okay, he snapped his fingers. Thanos did what he wanted to do.
But that could mean after the regular season and then the playoff. I don't know.
Thanos did accomplished his goal. He created balance. Got rid of half of all the people. Created the balance. He achieved his goal.
He was defeated.
Sure, and in the end, Matthew Stafford will retire. Maybe I've actually seen multiple things where it's the Rams are building to win right now because this is most likely Stafford's last year. And so they are building to give him one heck of a send-off, right? Byron Murphy, Byron Young came out and said in a...
You're just getting all the wrong people.
I'm having... There's a reason I couldn't. Anyway, Byron Young came out and said they had a defensive line meeting. And the meeting was essentially, this is Stafford's last year. We have to play better as a defensive line unit. And so, like, they're already, I mean, we are barely in, we're into the league season now. We're barely into the league season. And they're already talking about, hey, we weren't good enough last year. The defensive line was probably the best part of the Rams' defense. And they're like, we're not good enough. We need to get better. We're bringing in all these pieces behind us. We shouldn't even need them. Let's just get to the quarterback faster. Let's just be better on the defensive line. And so they're just stockpiling right now to give it their all and win, just like the Buccaneers did with Brady his last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they're still recovering from that, actually.
Yeah, just like the Broncos did with Peyton Manning his last year. You're making all these moves because you've got this maybe first ballot Hall of Famer, who knows anymore, and a quarterback who has a shot to just win one more on his way out the door, and so they're trying to give it to him. And so my winner is going to be Chris Shula, Rams defensive coordinator, who saw the need, was not unaware of it. That's my worst fear and my least favorite part about some of these NFL coaches is that they have obvious needs and obvious holes in their game, whether it be offensive line or secondary or whatever it may be, whatever unit it is, and they just ignore the fact that everyone's talking about it. And it's very common as NFL fandoms to pinpoint certain things. Our offensive line is bad. Our running backs are bad. We need this. We need that. But I feel like maybe it's this whole offseason, really. I feel like maybe more so than other years, teams are targeting specific pieces to make their coaching staffs have better players. And yes, that happens every offseason. I know that's what free agency is. We need better players to help our coaching staff. But I feel like it's been even more so. We're not just trying to get the best people; we're trying to get the right fit. How many free agents did the Raiders even sign this year? They got $280-something million just on the Raiders team. Tom Brady got his hand in there and said, "We need to be better right now. We've got Ashton Genty. We've got Fernando Mendoza coming in, most likely, in April. We have to get an offensive line. We have to get receivers. We have to get people in the door." And so I think that Chris Shula, at the end of the season, everyone was talking about how bad the Rams secondary was. He's like, well, fine. Stop talking about it. Let's get this guy, and this guy. Re-sign Cam Curl, get Trent McDuffie, get Jalen Watson, bring these guys in here, and let's do it. Stop talking about my defense.
Go draft Mekhi Lemon.
At this point, yes. Honestly, Devontae Adams. He's coming to his. He's got 2 more years left in his contract. Excuse me, he's not in his last year. He's got 2 more years left in his contract. But who better to learn under than the guy who had 12 one-yard touchdowns last year? The red zone demon just tore it up in the red zone last year. Why would you not want to learn from that guy? And so I think they're doing all the right things. I'm still incredibly torn on what I would like the Rams to do at pick 13. I have no idea. I'm just going to sit back.
I've heard a lot of Spencer Fano talk.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Like seriously, I'm not joking.
Yes, I know. I've seen it a lot, and I don't like it. And it's too bad that Monroe Freeling has just skyrocketed up the boards because that's pushing.
Oh, I think he'll be there at 13. I really do. The only team I see that could take him is the Browns, honestly. If the Browns don't take him, I think he'll be there at 13.
But still, with him skyrocketing up the boards, it's pushing Fano down to the Rams, and it'll be fine. It's just not what it's just, and it's not even because it's an offensive lineman. It's not a sexy pick. I just don't think he's that good. So, but hey, what do I know? I look like this. What do I know?
All right, well, let's stick with the winners since we're on the topic of winners right now. And you mentioned the Raiders. I think the Raiders won free agency. The Raiders needed to build their offensive line to make life easier for Fernando Mendoza, and they did exactly that by signing center Tyler Linderbaum to a 3-year, $81 million contract. All of a sudden, the Raiders' offensive line actually looks pretty good. And then there's the other moves they made. They signed linebackers Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. They signed edge rusher Kwity Paye. They signed receiver Jalen Naylor. And best of all, they signed kicker Matt Gay. But going into free agency, the Raiders knew they had to get better on the offensive line, and they 100% did that in free agency. So I think they are big winners of free agency this year. And they get to keep Max Crosby. I think that's a win.
Maybe. They are currently on track to keep Max Crosby. It's hard to go back.
It sounds like he's going to stay.
Yeah, but it's hard to go back into that building that A, didn't want you to play at the end of last season, B, traded you away for the new hot young thing. Here's 2 first-round picks. All right, good. Here's this guy. Go take him, whatever. And so it's hard to walk back in that facility. But the day that he got, I don't want to say rejected is the best word, I guess, rejected from the Ravens, the very next day, Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., he reported into the Raiders facility. That is a professional move. This is my job. Yep. That it didn't go this way, it's going this way, and I'm going to be a professional about it. And that speaks a lot to him. We talked about it a lot. He is like the Raider himself. Joe Flacco was the Raven, looked like a Raven. Max Crosby looks like a Raider. And so he just has that fit. And so I like him in Las Vegas. I think he would be wonderful if he stayed. Him staying raises the entire AFC West by a lot. I think with him leaving, the Raiders are right back in the same spot. We're going to be 4th in the West, and who knows? But and this is not an actual joke. With him staying, they could get 3rd or 2nd and have a real shot of not being pick number 1 or pick a top 5 pick again for the 20th year in a row. It's not actually 20, I know.
Although having the top pick next year is not the worst thing in the world.
No, everybody's trying to stockpile 2027 draft picks right now. I just think
trying to get Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Although, again, I've said this before, he's going to be the best prospect. He will not be the number 1 pick.
Probably not. they're trying to get Arch Manning. That's what they're trying to
That's a player playing next season.
get. Anyways, let's go back to the losers. And I want to tell you who my loser is, Will. And then this has to do with the trade that happened. So I want to know what you think of this after I go through it.
Yep.
Okay. So for me, one of the losers I have of free agency is the Denver Broncos. The Broncos were the only team in the NFL to not sign one single outside free agent during the first week of free agency. They signed a bunch of their own free agents, but not one single outside free agent. And then this week, they give up a first and a third round pick for Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle, but giving up a first and a third round pick to me is too much. And you want to know why it's too much? Because we just saw George Pickens get traded for a third round pick last year. And I understand that we just saw DJ Moore get traded for a second round pick, but that was also too much. We also just saw Michael Pittman Jr. get traded for a sixth round pick, and the Steelers got a seventh in return. And there's no way that the Broncos had to give up a first and a third round pick to get Waddle. The Broncos could have made a push to get Mike Evans in free agency. He went to the 49ers because he said they were one piece away from the Super Bowl. Well, the Broncos were literally one piece of Bo Nix's ankle away from the Super Bowl. So not only did the Broncos give up picks for Waddle, but they're paying him more than other guys they could have had. It just feels like there were other teams that the Broncos had to outbid, but I just don't think that's true. There's no other team that would have offered anything close to what the Broncos gave up. And so to me, the Broncos lost.
I agree with that, actually. And that was first thing this morning. I sent that snippet to you guys with that. I mean, it's trading a first, Broncos trading. Oh, golly. Miami receives. So they got Denver's first, and they're trading away, and their third and fourth round picks this year. And the Dolphins are sending a fourth and Waddle. And so, like you said, it's the first and third. I knew there were more picks, trying to make it make sense in my brain. You're right, though. And we just don't see, unless you're the elite of elites in the NFL right now, you just don't see people going for that high. They're that much value. And you listed off so many examples of that just not happening. I don't even know what else to say. It's just one of these things where the Dolphins also loses a free agency. They're paying, it's $250 million. Hold on, I can get it pulled up here. They are paying.
Are you talking about what they're paying Waddle?
No. What they're paying in players to not play on their team this year.
Oh, the Dolphins. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're paying.
It's $175 million.
Yeah, $175 million. So they're paying Tua $56 million. They're paying Bradley Chubb $31 million. Tyreek Hill $28 million. Jalen Ramsey $20 million. Minkah Fitzpatrick $12.9 million. And that's just their top five. There's 17 more people they're paying to not be on the team, including Zach Wilson, mind you. He made the list. They're paying so much money for people to not be on their team that they had to just get rid of his contract. That's all there was let's see what we can do to get rid of his contract. And we saw Dallas do this with defensive tackle Quay Walker. Am I saying the right word here? Dallas traded Green Bay?
Dallas traded to who they traded to the 49ers?
No. Dallas traded to Green Bay late round pick for a defensive tackle. And I'm not talking
recently?
about. Yeah, it was this offseason.
I know they traded away one of their defensive tackles.
Yep, it wasn't tackle. It was edge. Edge rusher Deshaun Gary.
That's what you said the wrong position.
Yep. Okay, let's start this over. We've seen it recently with these veteran cap cuts that Dallas got edge rusher Rashawn Gary from the Packers for a fourth round pick because the Packers couldn't pay him, and so it was a cap cut. And so if that's what the Dolphins are doing, which it seems like it, with all of the money they're having to pay out to everyone to not be on their team anymore, the Packers clear $11 million in salary cap for a fourth round pick. And so the Dolphins, they just fleeced the Broncos. There's no other way to put that. Hey, we got to get rid of Waddle. We want our first. Sure, we'll give you a first, but you have to give us a fourth. Fine, but you have to give us a fourth and a third. Yeah, okay, that seems fair. What are we doing? What? So it's just, it happens a lot with these veteran trades where teams have to just cut money, and so you're getting any value you can. And the Dolphins won that trade but I think they lost the rest of free agency, cutting Tua, cutting all these guys, and they're paying so much money out.
Yeah, and just to go back to the example with Mike Evans real quick. So I know Mike Evans is a different type of receiver than Jalen Waddle, but the reason I brought Mike Evans up is because Mike Evans, one of the things he wanted was the chance to win another Super Bowl. Well, the Broncos, like I said, were literally one piece of Bo Nix's ankle away from going to the Super Bowl. And so if the Broncos really wanted to get Mike Evans, they could have got Mike. I feel like they could have got Mike Evans because they have the defense to get it done, and they were so close to going to the Super Bowl. Mike Evans is making $14 million less than Jalen Waddle. And if they would have just pushed hard to get Mike Evans, they wouldn't have had to give up any draft picks. That's why I don't like this trade, is because there were other guys they could have gone after where they could have given up way less or not given up anything at all. You just pay him. But now they're paying more, $14 million more for another receiver where they also had to give up a first and a third round draft pick. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm listening, I swear to you. Avery just asked for the link to our show. Hey, send me the link. I have to get into our show.
My laptop's not working. Oh, jeez.
I thought I had it here. I don't have it saved because I don't need it saved because I'm in the show.
It's on the Discord.
Oh, it's in our Discord message. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and pull it up real quick.
I got it right here. That's
Okay.
10. That's all right.
This is great podcasting, by
This
the way.
is great podcasting. All right.
At least we're going to get our third set of balls back, so it'll feel right again.
It will feel right again.
All right, well, before Avery hops on, why don't you give us one more free agency loser, and then we'll get one from Avery real quick.
Can I give a winner instead?
Sure.
Because I've got a winner that you're going to like, actually.
Okay.
My winner here is the 2026 New York Ravens. I mean Giants. Jim Harbaugh went to the Giants and just took Baltimore with him. It seemed like everyone except Lamar. Not everyone, obviously, but the Giants made so many positive moves, and if they can stay healthy next year with Malik Neighbors and Cam Scadaboo staying healthy, they're currently. I've seen multiple mocks with them drafting Jeremiah Love to pair him in the backfield with Cam Scadaboo and a real speed and bruiser tandem. That would be crazy. It'd be like Jonathan Stewart. No, it'd be like Christian McCaffrey. Excuse me, too far back in the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey and Mike Tolbert, where you've got the speed and the power. It's like, all right, we get to the 1 yard line, give it to Tolbert. That's what that would be like. So I think
is Avery on his phone right now?
Avery is on his
I'm
phone
on my
right
phone.
now.
Oh my gosh,
dude!
Can you turn to landscape?
Yes.
Yeah, but you actually have to do it. Now you're just sideways.
Just look at me. So let's turn. Did that work? Is that working? No.
No, it worked. No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Is it? Or are you just saying that?
No, it's good.
No, it's not good. Just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it like that. It's fine.
My boys.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, jeez.
Dude, I don't even want to get into
Where
it.
you
Should we
been
take
at?
the rest of this episode? Been on the road.
Favorite and least favorite free agency moves?
Ooh. I thought Max Crosby to the Ravens was pretty sweet. And then I thought him going back to the Raiders was even sweeter. I know you guys talked about Jalen Waddle. I don't know what your guys' verdict on that was, but I actually like that. I think he will find a good life in Denver, and I think that both teams got what they needed. I know Denver hasn't done much at all in free agency, but I don't think they really needed to as much. Not to say I think they still should have, but I think the Dolphins got what they needed for a rebuild, and the Broncos got what they needed for Bo Nix. So all in all, I like that trade. I don't think either one lost necessarily. I wish the Bucks had done a lot more. I'm surprised to see that I believe the Titans have spent more than the Raiders, which I didn't know was possible. I thought the Raiders would blow everyone else out of the water. I think
If we had an extra 30 minutes, Avery, I would go over all the reasons why I think the Bucks actually had a good free agency. So maybe we can talk
Ooh,
about that later.
we'll talk about
Because
that privately.
I put a
Wait.
lot of effort into that because I thought it might come up, but it would literally take the rest of the show.
Look,
So
I have to hop off in 15 minutes. Avery missed the first part of the show. He needs to make up for his time. We're paid hourly here. This isn't salary work. We're
I'll
paid
stay
hourly.
on. I'll stay on after you guys get off, and then do like a 40-minute just freestyle, just riffing, just giving my thoughts. It'll drift to basketball and stuff because no one's here to like rein me back in. Dude,
There's no
I was on
way
the road for
75%
so
of
long.
that is usable.
It would be good. It'd be good content if someone it's just like the show is ended, but Avery's still on, and I'm just like trying to monologue. I was on the road for like 2.5 hours, and I probably was driving for about an hour of it. That was horrific. I've never experienced that yet. I've not been on the road that long. It was also like the worst things were happening around the road. There were constant wrecks everywhere. I don't know what was going on. There's not been any bad weather. Weather's actually very beautiful right now. And I kept pushing this back. This was supposed to start an hour and a half ago, and then I was like, make it start an hour ago, and then I was like, I'll be here in a half hour, and then I wasn't there, and I was like, give me like 20 more minutes, and then even then I was still late.
And what else did you say? What else did you say?
What else did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Avery.
other text did you send us?
Hey, Avery.
Oh,
I've already outed
well, I
you.
mean, you can
It's too
cut
late
this or
now.
not. I'll say it. I said my girlfriend's
No, I didn't mean
Asian
that
bitch
part.
friend.
I wasn't trying to throw you
Asian
under the
bitch
bus with your
friend was-
girlfriend.
Not that part. Not that part. Well, you called you.
I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus with your girlfriend, but I am going to leave that in. So hopefully she doesn't listen to the
What did
episode.
you say? That I
No,
wasn't
what you
reading.
used- What you said about you.
I said blame Alex and her dumb bitch Asian friend.
Yeah. You're making this so much worse for yourself. You're making this so much worse.
That was, or there
You're
is so much worse.
You're
There was
making it
nothing worse.
so much worse than it needs to be. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
all I know is that she couldn't find. She had an Airbnb and she thought there were no more keys. That the tenant didn't leave them. They did because it's part of the following the rules. And they had misplaced their other keys because they gave it to their in-laws who lost it. And so we had to go and find it. We had to drive over there. I thought it was an 8-minute drive, so 16 minutes total. It was 15 to 18 there and back, and then it got out of hand, and I was like, this bitch. I threw her under the bus, but it was
I
my
really hope she
choice.
doesn't listen to this.
Alex will listen to this. She'll be like, where's Avery? Why is he not on this episode? I thought he was on this episode. And then she'll
And
remember,
hopefully
oh,
she'll
that's
turn
right.
it off. Hopefully she'll turn it off before she gets to this part.
Yeah, then she'll see me and then be like, oh, yeah, where were you? And then I'm like, her bitch Asian friend who lives in California. And she'll be like, that's right. She agreed. She'll agree with me. She won't even be upset about it. If her bitch Asian friend sees this, she'll probably be upset, but she'll also know that we did her a huge solid, and she needs to get her keys copied so that we don't have to drive over there to make sure that her job is being done right. So
Oh, I'm so glad we're recording this.
it's all love though.
Okay, well, Will has to go soon, so let's get into some scouting reports real quick before Will has to hop off.
Let's do it.
And then, Avery, maybe we can talk about some Bucks free agency after.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on to some scouting reports. And so what we've been doing is going through ESPN's top 50 big board and moving down the list 1 through 50. But ESPN has recently updated their big board and moved a lot of players around. So today we're going to be doing scouting reports for a couple of different guys. We had 3 planned. I don't think we're going to get through 3. Hopefully we can do 2 while Will is still here with us. So if we don't get through all 3, we'll do the other one probably next week. And so Will and I decided the 2 we were going to try and do is Penn State guard Vega Ioane and Ohio State defensive tackle Kayden McDonald. And so previously those 2 guys ranked
Wait, can we
22nd
pause?
and
I'm so sorry.
yes.
I'm so sorry. Travis Etienne made me think. Made me think of this. I have heard Vega Ioane. I have heard his name pronounced 5 different ways. Listen, if you are If you are a prospect going into a media-centered job, whether it be sports or entertainment of any genre, even Canadian Football League, it's actually pronounced McMurray, not McMurray. Just make sure you get the official pronunciation out there early. That way, we're not calling you Robbie Gould for 20 or 10 years, and it's Robbie Gould. What?
There is a video of Vega Ioane saying his name. That's why I'm pronouncing it the way I am, is because I heard him actually say it that way.
Spread, because I heard so many people different, even PFF. The two guys on the PFF show said it different ways in their own dang show. Get it out there and get it out there properly early. That way everyone can say it properly.
Is one of those guys Trevor Sikkema?
I don't know. There's one skinny white dude and one less skinny white dude.
Anyway, his name is pronounced, well, his first name, I'm shortening his first name. I'm shortening his first name to Vega. It's actually Vega is how white people say it, but
yeah,
Vega is how you actually say it. So it's Vega Ioane is how you say his name, according to him. So that's why I'm saying it that way. Anyways, Vega Ioane previously ranked 22nd on the big board. Now he ranks 5th. And Kayden McDonald previously ranked 24th. Now he ranks 21st. So these guys have been moved around. But let's just go ahead and start with the 5th overall player on the big board currently, which is Penn State guard Vega Ioane. And Will, I usually have you go first with the offensive lineman, but I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I would like Avery and I to go first and then see if you agree or disagree with us on this prospect.
Yes.
So I'll start. I think Vega Ioane is an elite pass protector. It seems like he can counter any pass rush move that a defender will throw at him. I saw a ton of plays where a defender would get their first move shut down, and then they try something else, and then he'd shut that down too. His ability to mirror what defensive linemen are doing, I think, is elite. He's got a really good anchor, and he does not get pushed back into the quarterback, and he's always keeping the pocket clean. I know he's an interior offensive lineman, and teams don't value that high up in the draft, but I think he's got a good case to be the best offensive lineman in this draft. I really like his contact balance. I think there were a lot of times on film where I saw a play end with a defender on the ground and him either standing over them or he was on top of them because he can play through the contact and they couldn't. And once he gets his hands on you, you're done. He has an elite grip strength to latch onto defenders and he does not let go. He's got the power in his hands and his hips to drive you either down the field or to the ground. And I know nobody likes their team to draft offensive linemen in the first round, but if Vega Ioane ends up on your team, do not be disappointed because Vega Ioane is a beast.
Yeah, no, I agree with Joel. In fact, I mean, I saw this guy play, and then I watched some of that game tape from the Oregon-Penn State game. He just looks like a pro. He looks like he has the tools to be a professional offensive lineman. He looks like just a consummate professional. Jenga Umami, to me, is someone who I think.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, hey, Mister, that's my job. Okay, that's my job to butcher it that badly.
Yeah, I do. By the way, I do think it's funny that Emeka had that tweet, or maybe he didn't, saying is CTE even real when his name got pronounced Emeka Egbigboo by the one guy who definitely has CTE. Like he of all people should know. But no, I think he just looks like a safe pick to me. And I think for an offensive line, that's kind of what you want. Unlike maybe certain skill positions where you think, high ceiling but low floor, I think this guy is just like his ceiling and floor are very close to one another. And I think he just, like Joel said, he looks reliable, he looks sturdy, he looks competent. And for an offensive lineman, I think consistency is really what you want.
Yeah. So, Will, tell us if you agree or disagree with that. And I know you love to hate on guys, so give us some of the things you don't like about him.
Let me tell you, I could not be happier right now. I agree with you guys for the most part. He has had 0 sacks in the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, he's allowed 14 quarterback pressures. 1 this last year, 175 snaps, pass blocking snaps, 1 pressure, no snaps. 1 penalty all season. This guy is the guy when it comes to interior offensive linemen, when it comes to offensive guards. Thank you for pulling this up. Big body. See, this says 4 pressures allowed. What I said 1 pressure allowed. This is the problem with pressures as a stat, is different people stat it differently. So you're going to get different answers. So we're going to have a little discrepancy here depending on who's grading what. 6'4", 325. I think he measured in at the combine at 323. And obviously that's just going to vary.
He did. I just ChatGPT put 325, so I didn't want to change it. It was 2 pounds, so I didn't change it.
Weight's just going to vary for the rest of his career, and then when he leaves the NFL, hopefully he drops about 150 pounds, like most of these offensive linemen do. He is strong as all get out. When he gets his hands on you, he's not letting go. My issues with him. This boy cheats. This boy cheats so much. Oh my gosh, does this boy cheat? Great feet. I saw this one guy said it's shoes under shorts blocking for him. And that is the absolute truth. He keeps his feet under him. He keeps everything in front of him. The problem is that on run blocking, he wants to hit you and then lay on you. And to me, that is good. I guess you're taking one of the people out of it, but you're also taking yourself out of it. He wants to make the hit and then make sure you stay down, but then you take yourself out of it. If the defensive guy is on the ground, chances are very low they're making the play. Not 0, but very low they're going to make the play. He should have been called for so many holding penalties. Every other snap, he's pulling jerseys. He's doing all this stuff. He keeps his hands inside the shoulder pads for the most part, and that's why he doesn't get called for it. But that kind of play, until it's refined at the NFL level, is not going to go well initially. I will not be surprised if in combined workouts this offseason, where 2 different teams are having combined practices, if he is involved in at least one fight because of the way he plays offensive line. And that is what you want from your interior offensive lineman. It is exactly what you want. I want a guy who's going to cause fights. And Vega. Ulari Umami Gugari Ioane.
Bugatti.
He is the guy you want. Honestly, if I were the Raiders, I would legitimately consider putting him right next to Tyler Linderbaum. You need for Fernando Mendoza, trade back up. Get him. Get him, put him next to Linderbaum. Get yourself a stacked interior. Offensive line, pass blocking, solid. Run blocking, he needs to develop a bit more to get his hands in front of him and to keep his feet. He will make a hit, and then if you're on the ground, he's going to just jump on you, and that will just get called for unnecessary roughness, or that will get called for whatever. It is going to cause fights, because he's not going to be the biggest guy around in the NFL, but it is going to be, he is a beast, he's an animal. He is very, very good.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I really like Vega Ioane a lot. I do. If the Bucs drafted him at 15, I would not be upset at all, to be honest.
You shouldn't be.
I would like it.
Okay, settled then.
All right. He's the pick at 15.
He's the pick. The pick is in. I'm so glad we did that. Do you guys have anything else?
Yeah, I know. Do you guys have anything else you want to add with Vega Ioane?
Nope.
Not constructive.
Okay. We got like 5 minutes, so let's talk about Ohio State defensive tackle Kayden McDonald, who is currently ranked as the number 21 player on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board. And I'd like to start this off with a question for you guys. So Kayden McDonald had 64 tackles in 2025, which is a very high number of tackles for a defensive tackle. Do you think that's because he's just that good? Is it because he had players like Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, and Sonny Styles around him? Or is it a bit of both?
Me or you, Avery?
I'll go quick. I think it's a bit of both. On one hand, I do feel like the talent at Ohio State makes a lot of the other players look really good. And if it wasn't for the track record that Ohio State has of putting legitimate pros into the league, I would stick with that. But I think he's a little bit of a riskier pick. I mean, he's obviously on the other side of the line here. part of it is just that the little bit like what you said here, often stops rushing when the first move doesn't work. That does kind of concern me a little bit. I like to see someone with a little bit more tenacity or even just more tricks up his sleeve to keep it going. I don't know if that's more of an effort thing or just a skill set issue or what, but then again, I do feel like even though these guys can look inflated because of the talent they have around them, Ohio State is always putting out ridiculously good guys every single year.
I have written down here Styles, Reese, and Downs owe this man a lot for how successful they were able to be. Teams
Yeah.
didn't know where to go defensively or offensively against Ohio State. Because if you run up the middle, you're running into Kayden McDonald. You run to the outside, you're running into Downs, Reese, and Styles. You can't run anywhere against this team. And so I think he actually was fifth on their team in tackles this year. Like you said, as a defensive tackle, that is unbelievably high. That is not your job. Your job is to stop the play from coming up the middle and force everything outside where we can use our 12th man, the boundary, to our advantage. McDonald didn't need that. Yeah, he may have stopped after the first move, but his first move worked so often, it's almost as if he was just like, oh, I don't know what to do now. I'm stronger than this guy. Why didn't I push him out of the way? What do I do next? Kind of thing. And so I like this guy a lot. I don't have anything else really to say about him. He's a bit slower than you want, but he's a defensive tackle. You don't need it. He's not Lee Hunter unathletic, but he's not like, I don't even know. I have to look at our board to see who's
Lee
where.
Hunter moved down ESPN's big board, by the way.
Absolutely, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They watched the show.
Anyways,
big fan.
yeah,
Big fan
Yeah.
of Kayden McDonald.
me too. Yeah, when you break down Kayden McDonald's tackle numbers, you see that he had 31 solo tackles and 34 assist tackles. So pretty much half of the time, he was making the tackle by himself. McDonald isn't just out there taking up space, he's actively looking for and pursuing the ball carrier, and because he's doing that, he's often disrupting the play and making ball carriers go places that they didn't intend to go. So for me, to give a player comparison, Kayden McDonald reminds me a little bit of Vita Vea. Vita Vea is a little bit bigger than he is, but Vita Vea and Kayden McDonald are very similar because they aren't there to just take up space. They're there to find the ball while taking up space. Kayden McDonald is a phenomenal run defender who shows flashes of being a good interior pass rusher as well. Vita Vea has developed into a very good interior pass rushing presence throughout his career, and I think Kayden McDonald can do the same thing. He had 3 sacks in 2025, so he's shown the ability to rush the passer from the interior, but he does need to learn how to counter when his first move is shut down, because as Will mentioned, he kind of just stops after that first move just doesn't work. But overall, he's shown that he has the potential to be a very good interior pass rusher in the NFL. And if your team is looking for help on the interior defensive line, they should absolutely target Kayden McDonald. Will, do you have to go?
I do have to go. Sorry, guys.
You want to give us a
Bye.
bye now, y'all?
Bye now, y'all.
Bye, Will.
See you guys.
And then there were 2.
All right. So since Will is gone, we will wait to rank these 2 guys until next week. We'll wait on that. But Avery, I have a lot to say about the Buccaneers free agency moves, and I actually really like them. So
Let's talk
I want
about
to know. I want to know first why you don't like it that much.
For me, I was just expecting more, I guess. I think they still filled the holes they needed to, but I guess I was just seeing some of the bigger moves that other teams were making was kind of disappointing. Like to see that we weren't making as many, but then again, that's probably more flash over substance. My big thing though, ultimately, is just, and this might just be reading into tabloids a little bit too much, but I really just don't like Todd Bowles as the head coach. I think he's a nice man.
Nobody
but
does.
and it's just one of those things. I feel like Mike Evans left because of the direction the team was headed. Like that's what I feel
Yeah.
like. Maybe he won't say
Yep.
that. Maybe it's unprofessional to say it. But
That's what it is.
in the twilight of his career, he's probably just looking to win, and he probably would have been still fine knowing like where the team was if there was more change. But to me, I just see like, okay, it was a mediocre season. And if you don't include the first part of the season, it was a terrible season. And so to me, like when you don't have changes, like, cause I can understand there's been times, I mean, I'm a fan of other teams, and I can see where it's like, okay, we had a bad season, but it was because of some injuries or some of the games just went the wrong way, or there's some calls where it's like, okay, but like as soon as we get our ducks in a row, like it's gonna turn around. We don't need to start, reinventing the wheel here, but here it's like, okay, I don't know whether it's the leadership. It just feels passionless. It feels like he's just there. I don't know where the front office or management or ownership is getting the confidence with this guy where it's really just like, yeah, we don't want to keep switching it up. Maybe it's just you want to keep something there for a little bit to like get it going. But to me, I just don't feel like this is the guy. I feel like we're at risk of losing Baker at some point soon, and then you kind of lose the whole heart and soul of the team, and it worries me. So to me, I was expecting more from free agency and still the draft. What was that?
That is my wife opening the garage.
So disrespectful.
Apparently, she didn't know that I was still on the podcast.
It's because I was talking.
I didn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. Normally, I hear you.
Well,
Hold on.
anyway, all that to be said, I was expecting more. I was expecting more, and I should have known that like Bulls was the really big thing I wanted, and I didn't get it. That was my big wish list item, and I never got it. So
I think it's very understandable to be disappointed with Todd Bowles. I don't think any Bucks fan wants Todd Bowles to be there, but I'm just basing these moves off of the moves themselves because Todd Bowles is there. So that's
Yep.
the only, that's like, I'm kind of leaving that out, even though I hate it. He is there. And so I'm just basing the moves off of the moves themselves. So a lot of people are unhappy with how free agency went for the Buccaneers, but I actually disagree. And so I'll go through all the losses and, well, not all of them. I'll go through the key losses and the key adds for the Bucks, and I'll tell you why I actually like this. So the key losses, I'll start with those. Losing Mike Evans. I'm not attached to Mike Evans like most Bucks fans are, but I
Yeah.
get it. He's a franchise legend, so the loss hurts. But guess what? You just drafted a wide receiver in the first round of last year's NFL draft. And when you draft a wide receiver in the first round, you're expecting them to be a top wide receiver. And Emeka Egbuka showed you flashes of being able to do that last year. So
Yep.
no more Mike Evans means that now is his time. And that's why you drafted him. We lost corner Jamel Dean. Jamel Dean is a good corner, but I don't think he's anything special. He's also hurt a lot. He didn't miss a ton of games, but he was always playing hurt. It was expected that he was going to leave pretty much the entire year. And so the Bucks last NFL draft as well drafted 2 corners in the second and third round by taking Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. I don't think we saw what Morrison can really be last year because he was hurt for 7 games, but when he was on the field, he didn't play bad. And then Jacob Parrish, I really like a lot, and I think he played really good last year. So this is kind of the same situation with Mike Evans leaving. You drafted these guys for a reason. They showed you potential, and now it's their time to step up.
Yep.
With the additions, the Buccaneers brought 6 players in who weren't on the team last year. And so I'll go through each player and I'll tell you why I like them.
Do it.
So starting with linebacker Alex Anzalone. The linebacker play for this defense was not good last year. So what did they do? They brought in a good linebacker. Is Anzalone one of the best linebackers in the league? No. But is he a solid linebacker? Absolutely. He was a team captain for the Lions and he wore the green dot for them during his time there. And so he knows how to lead a defense. Did the Bucks get better at linebacker? Yes, because Anzalone makes them better. But do they need to get more than just Anzalone at linebacker? Also yes. But it's a good start. Then moving to running back Kenneth Gainwell. I really like this signing because I think he's going to be big for the Buccaneers. Last season, Gainwell had over 1,000 total yards and 8 touchdowns for the Steelers, and now he steps into the RB2 role behind Bucky Irving to replace Rachaad White, who sucks. So Gainwell gives you more than Rachaad White does from a running back and as a receiver, in my opinion. So I think he's an upgrade. Then moving to defensive lineman A'Shawn Robinson. The Bucs said that one of their goals on defense this offseason was to get bigger. So they lost Logan Hall, who was in that position before, who is 6'6", 283. They bring in Robinson, who is 6'3", 320. So they got bigger. Robinson also plays with a nastiness that was missing very much so from the Bucs defense last season. So I think that is going to kind of change the attitude of the entire defense, having him on the defensive line. Then they also brought in edge Al-Quadin Muhammad, who had 11 sacks last year for the Lions. I get that he played next to Aiden Hutchinson, and Aiden Hutchinson took all of the attention, but Bucs signed this guy to a 1-year, $6 million deal that's actually a $4 million deal that could be $6 million based on performance. So the Bucs pass rush was bad last year. We all know that. So everyone is looking at the fact that the Bucs didn't sign Trey Hendrickson in free agency and saying it's a loss. But what the Bucs didn't do is sign a 31-year-old pass rusher to a 4-year, $112 million contract that's worth $28 million a year. Instead, the Bucs went for the value that won't hurt them later down the road when a 35-year-old player falls off. So them signing Al-Quadin Muhammad to a $6 million deal is very good value because there had to have been teams that were willing to give this guy more money. Aiden Hutchinson or not, he had 11 sacks, and he's getting $6 million a year. That is very good value in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then moving to quarterback Jake Browning. The Bucs brought in Jake Browning to back up Baker Mayfield after losing Teddy Bridgewater. Everyone's saying that this move sucks, but I actually really like it. Did Jake Browning play well last year? No, not at all. But did he play great in 2023? Yes. And at least Jake Browning is willing to go out there and sling the ball around. You do not get that with Teddy Bridgewater. Look at when Teddy Bridgewater was in for the Bucs this last season. He wasn't out there slinging the ball around like Baker, but Jake Browning can do that. So if Baker gets hurt, you now have a guy who plays more similar to Baker Mayfield than Teddy Bridgewater, and so you don't have to change your offense in that situation. And then finally, the Bucs brought in safety Miles Killebrew, and the reason why that is important is because he is a special teams ace. He made the Pro Bowl as a special teamer in 23 and 24, and he was an all-pro on special teams in 23. He didn't make it last year because he was hurt, but he is very good on special teams, and the Bucs special teams was bad last year. The Bucs brought in the new special teams coach in Danny Smith, who came from the Steelers, where Miles Killebrew came from. And so he said, I need this guy. And they went and got him his guy. So in my opinion, with the 6 new guys they brought in, they got better at linebacker. They got better on the defensive line. They got better at running back. They got better at backup quarterback. And they got better on special teams. They got better at more positions than they got worse at. And to me, that's a win. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Bucs were winners of free agency, but I don't think that they were losers either.
Yeah, no, that's I would agree. I do like those changes. I think for me though, it's more just it's like it does. I do think those are smart moves. For me, it's more like I want to see more urgency because to me, it's and part of this it obviously always goes back to Bulls, but the beginning of last season showed how good this team could be. And I
Yeah.
felt like the coaching let him down. I felt like injuries let him down. And so partially, I just want to know, like, it didn't seem like there was really much of a response to that second half of the season.
No,
Like,
not at
you
all.
look at that and you're like, okay, I'm expecting big moves here. It's not like it's the last game and things fell apart. It's like, dude, it was the last 10 games that, like, everything fell apart. And everyone is like, okay, I'm expecting a big response this offseason. And to me, this feels like what I would want to see from like the Broncos, where it's like, oh, we're right on the cusp. Let's just improve a few positions. Let's not shake up the roster too much. So on one hand, I'm not like I'm for it. Didn't Jake Browning I could be totally misremembering this. Didn't he throw like 5 picks in a game last season? Or was that someone else?
Yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions last year.
But I
But
know that he's on the Cincinnati Bengals, and I mean even what's his face couldn't even stay healthy. So like I do like that he's still throwing it. I like seeing that. I agree with that. I guess to me, like, I mean, the backup quarterback is a position, but to me, if your quarterback goes down, like it's already kind of a wash. Like, again, going back to
yeah,
basketball here, Caleb Wilson is the best freshman that Carolina's ever had, and that's saying a lot. And when he went down, it doesn't really matter who's at backup. It's like the season's kind of over. Like you can win some games, and they beat Duke miraculously, but that was with Caleb Wilson. But then after that, it's like it's like you can't unless you're the Eagles with Knowles, like you're not really expecting to go to the Super Bowl here. So to me, like the backup quarterback situation isn't that big of a deal. I am at this point kind of holding my breath to see what they do in the draft because I felt like last year's draft went really well. I thought that Ibuka and even Tez Johnson coming out, and it's like, dude, we picked this guy up in garbage time. And so
Yeah.
I like seeing what some of these guys can do. I'm hoping that that was intentional and it wasn't just lucky from their front office of picking the right guys. So I'm hoping that at least, and maybe it's a little bit of a plan, trust, or attitude, but I want to see that their free agency moves complement who they draft. So
Yeah.
at least hoping for that. And then the other thing is the frustrating thing for me is that I feel like the only way Coach Bowles gets fired is if they have one more disappointing season. And I don't want to have another disappointing season, but I also don't want to be just above mediocre. So it's frustrating from the end
And
of like
if they win, then Bowles stays longer too.
yeah, yeah, and it gives them more leeway, and I'm just not a big fan of just staying in that middle section. I want to go for a coach that has that, I don't want to say just that buzz or that excitement, but yeah, it's that is definitely been getting me down. But I do agree with what you're saying about those positions, about being able to get better at these positions, answer these holes that are there. But yeah, I guess for me, I just wanted to see bigger changes. But I do agree that those are still good ones.
Yeah, and they were very much in on the Trey Hendrickson signing because Trey Hendrickson wanted to go to Tampa. They wanted a shorter term deal, and Trey Hendrickson wanted a longer term deal. I like the fact, though, that they didn't go for the longer term deal because, like I
Yeah,
mentioned, he's going to be 35 at the end of that deal. And when pass rushers are over that age, maybe they're still good, but you don't know. And Trey Hendrickson is coming off an injury from last season. The older you get, you're not going to get less injury prone. You're going to get
yep,
more injury prone.
yep,
So I actually like that they didn't sign him to, like, if they would have signed him to a 2-year deal, like a shorter term deal, I would have loved it. But because they didn't sign him to the longer term deal, I actually like it. And again, it was $28 million a year. So instead, you're bringing in a guy who had 11 sacks for $6 million.
yep,
So I think they made smart moves because Will and I briefly mentioned this too. They're still kind of recovering from when they put everything into when Tom Brady was here,
yep,
when they won the Super Bowl. Because when Tom Brady came, they put everything into that team. They signed a whole bunch of guys, a whole bunch of money, and they are still kind of recovering from that. So I like that they are aware of that still, but they're still making signings that improve the team. Now, did they improve the team to compete with the Rams and Seahawks? No,
yeah.
but
That's true.
they are. I think they're still making smart moves that helps them at least financially for the future. So I'm trying
I
to look
do.
at it in a more positive way.
That honestly, no, that is a good point. I do think that financial responsibility to your team's future is important. I do agree with that. I'm also on the boat of I don't think we would want Trey Hendrickson now for the cost, the time, the risk. Where it's like, I mean, for what to get, I mean, we would obviously be better on defense, but it's one of those things where it's like, look, we're not really at that point. If we were right on the cusp and it was like, dude, this guy will get us over that hump and take us there, then I'd say go for it. But right now, I mean, hey, maybe there's other guys you can get in the draft, get some younger guys, make the team look more appealing moving forward. So that is, yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about that because I spent a lot of time
Yeah.
going through that. Yeah, I put a lot of thought into that. So, yeah, unless you have anything else you want to add, I don't have anything else, so I think we'll wrap it up. So next week, there's a couple different things that we could be talking about because the NFL owners meeting is coming up in a couple weeks. And last year we talked about the proposed rule changes. I haven't seen any of those proposed rules come out yet. So if they do come out before next week's episode, we'll probably be talking about those. But if they don't, we'll probably just do some more scouting reports unless there's something else significant that happens. But it's the offseason and the draft's not here yet. So probably doing scouting reports. So we'll see what happens. But as always, guys, don't forget to keep your balls played with. We'll see you next time.
Also, Mark Davis' haircut still sucks.